No, I can't say that we ever focused on, do a duet, but we were always working together. That's the crazy shit. It's funny, like now that I think about it, we never really focused on that. Now, me and Nicole Ray did, but yeah, me and
Okay.
Alan, we never did. We never did. But it's crazy. Like I said, he had a couple singles that he was trying to release. I was in his video shoot. I was always or in the studio when I knew where he was and where he was recording. I was there, so we had that type of relationship. And uh, I think more than anything, that was why we never sat down and just created a record. It's like he had a lot of expression in him. I as well, and a duet was not something that either of us needed at the time. I guess I'm not sure why we didn't do that or
Mhm.
why it wasn't presented that we should, but we never
Yeah.
did. But we were around each other all the time. I may
Yeah, I
holler at
was.
him now, as a matter of fact, and see if we can get that done. I think he's still in
Yeah,
Atlanta,
yeah, yeah.
to my
Yeah, I
understanding.
was. I was always wondering why that wasn't done. And
Yeah.
speaking of Nicole Ray, she's in Atlanta as well. So
Okay.
you make it. Yeah, you make get both of them on a feature.
That's what I may do that. I'm working on the RNG compilation right now. I might have to holler at my brother and sister and see what they up to. Thanks.
No doubt, no doubt.
Appreciate
Yes,
that.
sir. Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Queen Taylor.
So I had a buttload of things, but I'm just gonna narrow it down,
Cool. Cool.
Um,
Yeah, but hold on,
so,
pause. It's buttload.
huh?
I said pause. I don't really say that often, but dang,
Mhm.
buttload. Go ahead.
I don't pause, so it's
Pause.
I normally don't, but I was just messing with my sister on this one. I normally don't, but I was just messing with her on this.
I
I was
got
like,
Yeah, yeah. Just to mutate you, so I mean.
you.
for real. No, but because I just really wanted to ask you, like, going from that to independently, was it kind of like, was it hard? Like, was it like, did it become difficult to, I said difficult to, Lord, I'm discombobulated, like what we've been going through. Was it difficult going from that to, the independent part?
No, no. Now, if you ask me, did I appreciate, my tenure as a signed artist more? Oh, definitely. That
Mhm.
aspect, yes. Because you realize that labels, uh, CEOs, you realize all these people, like, these are intricate parts that move, in these grinding gears. And a lot of these relationships took years to build. Like they're able to send you anywhere in the country because of the relationships that they built, in these regions already. When you're independent, you have to do that yourself. So, when you look at things like that, yeah, you appreciate it. When you're used to getting off a plane and there's somebody waiting when you come off the plane with a sign up and your last name, you get used to those things as a signed artist. But Dame prepared us to be CEOs. That's what he was doing the whole time. He would make moves and then he, talk till we got tired of hearing it. Because like he wanted us to know this is the spirit of business, and that nothing lasts forever. Like our current situation, it wouldn't last. He didn't wait till it was bad to say that. He was saying that the whole time. Prepare yourself for that next level or whatever it is. Like utilize me, utilize this platform. Don't misuse me, but utilize this platform to get where you're trying to go. And so, you know, like we were always conscious of that. I know I was. Even when I wasn't prepared for it, I was still conscious of it. So when it was time to actually bust the moves, it was just like, all right, well, it's my time to be Dame. Cool. That's all it was.
Right.
That's all it was. It was all right. Well, I'm wearing. I'm CEO now. Let's get it.
Yeah.
So it was just now it's my turn to do what I watched him do. That was all. So it was an easy transition. I sleep way better. I know all the ins and outs of my business. Um, but I do appreciate, that
Mhm.
sweet difference, that those perks that were in place when I was a signed artist. So yeah, but the minute you level up, they're back in place. You know what I mean? That's the deal. So you don't really you're not really missing anything except for, like I said, a label already being strong enough to, make sure that everything's sturdy for you prior to, you know.
Right.
Good question though. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna go back to you, um, Jacob, King Jacob,
Okay.
King
Appreciate you.
Jacob.
Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. So real.
Yes, sir.
Being in this music industry, and I just want to say congratulations to you on writing for Mr. Usher Raymond.
Thank you.
So what was that experience like on writing for Mr. Usher Raymond? You know what I mean? Like can you explain us that process?
That's beyond a dream come true because it's not, it's not really something that I was aspiring to be, a dynamic, songwriter in that regard where I'm making a placement with another artist. If anything, I was gonna be known for that for my music. But I learned a long time ago that, you know, all light is light, whether it's yours, whether it's someone else's. All opportunities are good ones, if you make good on it. And that a slice of another pie is just as good as having your own pie. If you work your business right, like I said in the prior podcast, you'll have slices of pies that's coming from business opportunities from everywhere. And before you know it, you got a whole pie. But your pie is just colorful. You got Dutch apple and you got all these different slices on yours because you're taking advantage of every opportunity. You see?
Right.
So, you know, um, in that regard, yeah, like Usher was the most beautiful surprise that, I got a call. My roommate, Spice, I love you, bro. You know, like we was different guys back then. He had his reasons for being in the studio. And he called me while he was there, and he was like, "Man, listen, your boys from Philly in here. They working on something for Usher. They want you to come through." So Dre and Vidal was in the studio in Sony. I was living in Manhattan, so it was a hop, skip, and a jump. I got there. They pull up the beach. I'm listening. I'm like, this is what direction he's going in. Okay. I mean, this is kind of my lane. So, we did like 3 or 4 demos. But Here I Stand was his baby, like down to bumping something off the album just so it could go on it. That like he was like, this one right here says everything I want, you know, people to know about me at this present moment in my life. You know, um, and so he was going through some transitions, and that song fit the transitions, and we made the cut. Um, that was man, like I, that was.
A
I'm still
hit,
speechless. I'm
a
still
hit,
speechless on that one.
a hit, a hit. Let me help you
Yeah,
get the words out. That was a hit.
I'm still so like because contemporary R&B is easy for me to write. To God be the glory on that. But
Right.
you know, Usher is rarely looking for contemporary R&B. He's a pop star. Um, and with that being said, it was just crazy that he needed something that I do very well at that present moment in time. So it was a lot of
Right.
divine energy around that, and we appreciate him. I told him that several times. Thanks for giving me that opportunity. And yeah, it's just a humbling thing. It was a great thing, and it definitely put me in another you know sector, if you will. Just put me in another realm where I was able to reach out to and continue to write for people on his level. And had that not happened, had Here I Stand not happened, that would have been a lot more difficult too. So all things lead to something else in this game. I mean? All you can do is just try and stay focused, keep your feet on the ground, give thanks. I mean? And just, keep some integrity about how you move it. That's all you can do. I mean? Because it changes like the wind.
That's
Y'all know
right.
that just as well as I do. So all you can
Okay.
do is just
Okay.
keep yourself grounded, and so far so good. So far so good, in the spirit of the South, true spirit, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, sir. So I got a question. One more question. I'm gonna pass it over to Attorney after this question. So when it comes to the young up and coming writers, when 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 they are trying to understand the music publishing business, right?
Uh-huh.
As far as the songwriting business,
Right.
um, how many reference tracks do you would you say they need to record? In like a 6 month period, if they inspire to write for other people, and I try to tell independent artists that those reference tracks are very, very, very important. So what would you want to say on something about that?
Okay, so like give me your definition of reference tracks before I answer that.
So my definition of reference tracks, I've always had artists to tell me, well, I just want to be a songwriter. So I've always plugged them with a producer, had agreement with the producer, allowed the
Uh-huh.
producer to make the beats. And if it's a songwriter that sing and songwrite, but only want to songwrite, I have them to go in the studio with the producer, and they write, they record it, and
Uh-huh.
I've had connections with like Sony Orchard, Sony Red, Warner Chapel, and I would just send an A&R this reference track and ask me could we shop this reference track, and so that's how I had independent artists writing those reference tracks.
Okay. Got you. Got you. Got you. Got you. Okay. So the question again was, how many reference tracks should they do? Or like what was the question
Yeah,
again?
yeah. How if you're an inspiring songwriter,
Huh?
how many reference tracks do you think an artist should do? How many should they have in the vault? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Because a lot of songwriters, they write and write and write. And so if it's a producer and a songwriter that got a relationship, they can build that catalog of reference tracks. And so
Right.
for an up and coming independent artist that wants to do that, how many tracks do you think they should have have been done in 6 months? You know what I mean?
Hmm. In 6 months. I mean, putting myself in that independent artist's shoes, just trying to make myself, who they are, to answer this question. Um, to be honest, I wouldn't put a number on how many songs. I
Okay.
nor if I'm just doing reference music, nor would I put the pressure on myself to deliver X amount of songs.
Hmm.
Instead, what I do is just record everything that comes to me. You know, like
Okay.
structure the idea when it comes to me, record it. When the next one comes, same thing. When the next one comes, same thing. Wherever the inspiration is coming from, let it be. You know, and then by 6 months, we probably got an arsenal because the focus was not to actually come up with a number, but to just like this person said, to become a good songwriter and make placements. And the main way to do that is just to continue doing it, but allow it to be an organic thing. Don't put yourself in a position where you're trying to force any idea. Because just take your time and see it through. Take your time, see it through. I would, but now as rell, to anybody that's listening, I would go on to answer this question by elaborating and saying this. Um, there are tools everywhere. There are there are things that will help you everywhere. Like I said this too before in another podcast, but writer's block is not something I experience.
Oh
Not for
wow.
a time. I've not had
Okay.
writer's block for a very long time. Um, because all music is created, based on inspiration. Something you saw, experienced, or felt, or heard. It inspired you to want to translate that through this, universal approach that we use called music. Um, as rell, to get to that point where songwriting became very comfortable to me, I listened to a
Hmm.
lot of songs that charted before me. artists that charted before me. I mean, I went back as far as the 70s, 60s. You know, Unsung helped a lot, but more so just reading up on a lot of these artists and being fortunate to grow up in a household where there's, you know, lots of wax, lots of LPs and a little, you know, I forgot what you call the smaller ones, the 13-inch vinyls. They had 13 and 45s. Is that how it went? However it was, like
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
my
yeah. It
grandparents,
was the 45
45.
component set.
yeah, my family, like the man, Stacks. I saw those names. Philadelphia International, Motown, High Records, Tennessee. You know, all of those guys, Al Green, like just these different labels, and you know, I was listening to a lot of that stuff, and it wasn't, you know, I didn't know who wrote it, I didn't know who produced it, I didn't, you know, I was a child, you know, but what I did know was the message, you know, the message I could lock in on. And so as I evolved it through the years and became an artist and a songwriter or just a person, you know, in a studio trying to hone my skills as a creator, as a music creator, guys, it started with me going right back to those same hit songs and feeling like more could have been said in that subject matter, and then finding, you know, finding a song in that, or totally disagreeing with that song altogether. Like I don't agree with that shit. I'm gonna find me a track where I can speak on that. And see, a lot of these inspirations don't have anything to do with something that I need to, you know, place for, but it's just random human emotions that we all go through. So by the time the recording is done, most of the time what you end up with is something that people can relate to. You're using
Yeah,
hit song
yeah.
component elements from hit songs. All right. You're using the human emotion to elaborate on those components and elements. And then you're presenting it to what? A group of people who are human, who deal with these emotions on a daily basis. Like it's very hard to not, you know, give them something that they're going to relate to or find therapy in. And hence no writer's block. You know, I mean, that's the way, that's a good way to get your skills up as a writer, you know, until there are actual projects where there are actual, you know, artists, and you have to now tailor what you're writing to their style and their tone and what, you know, their needs, you know, in order to
Right.
get your, but up until that point, use the inspiration that hit songs, you know, prior to us have already given us and build on those, you know, and writer's block disappears. It's like, yeah, yeah, well, you know, it's very hard to say you got that now. Like, there's no way to have it, you know, when you got those tools and you know that you can reach for those anytime. Like, it could hit you at any point. Like, you know, some people might not agree with Sunshine. She's my homegirl, Queen sister. They don't agree with her at all before. You know, he might have been a good guy. He might have not been a bad guy. It might not be him in the situation. You know what I mean? But he can go on and then do a song, you know, saying that. You know what I mean? He could go on and do a song elaborating on that. I did it. You know, it's a demo. You guys never heard it, but I'm just saying it works. You know, woman to woman, old
Yeah,
school. You know,
right.
she's out on the phone. She's talking to the mistress. You know, girl, all that stuff you enjoying, I do. That's me. You know, holding him down. Like everything his little light, how it shines. Yeah, that's my purse. My purse got a lot to do with that. Okay. And but see, now I put myself in a position where I'm laying next to mistress when wife calls. And I'm like, the audacity to her. Give me the phone. Give me the phone. Give me the phone. Let me talk to her. You told me you could do better than me. Baby, honestly, I didn't want to leave. But you acted like you couldn't make me happy. Steady complaining. Moods keep changing. So, you know, but I did it in the spirit of woman to woman. I took the same song. Walter, he did it. It was a loop. And I'm saying, you told me you could do better than me, baby. Honestly, I didn't want to leave, but you acted like I couldn't make you happy. Steady complaining, moves keep changing. I'm going to the same loop that woman and woman is on. I'm just
Mm-hmm.
singing, and it came out
That's right.
beautiful. You know what I mean?
That's,
And so that's what
that's
I'm saying.
dope.
When you hit songs to draw inspiration, a lot of the times what you're going to come up with is something relative for people. Long story short.
Right. I
Okay,
can
so
dig it.
what?
I can dig it. Go ahead,
So
Akon.
what's the your biggest accomplishment over the last probably 20 years plus that you know since you've has been separated from Rockefeller and you've done stuff on your own. So as an individual, what's been your biggest accomplishment?
Huh. I'll say longevity itself. I think that longevity, longevity itself. I can name, different projects or things that endeavors that I had, but the truth is they all add up to that length of time. So it's just the longevity. It's just like I said, that form of loving the creative process. See, that's what I love. I love the creative process. That's why, in a lot of ways, I'm still around. If it was up to artistry, no. If it was up to, if it was just up to artistry alone, like a lot of people, I probably would have gave this shit up. But the truth is, the creative process, what happens in that studio, is what I love. That's what I love. And then it doesn't matter
Okay.
if it's for me, for you, for the queen, for King Jake. It don't matter. Like that creative process, that idea to finished product, and you sitting back listening. It's like when you cut your own grass and you looking at the yard when you finish. It's like it's the same thing. That's the part I love. And that I can do until I fade off the planet. There's no retiring from doing something you love. I mean, recording to me is like fishing to a lot of people. It's like that's something I will never get tired of, because creating something therapeutic for people is, man, I mean, I don't, for me, I can't be closer to God than that. Like, I'm in my purpose when I'm doing that. Like, when you touch people in like 3 minutes, you know what I mean, and just make them feel better about their present situation, like, or even just performing for them, knowing that, they're gonna feel different when they leave that venue that night. You know what I mean? Like, they're gonna be a little lighter on their feet. They're gonna talk about this energy for a day or two. It's gonna carry them. I mean, that's divine to me. That's not something I'm doing by myself. It's just something I'm tapping into that's already there. You know?
Okay. So
Mm, yeah,
talk
yeah,
about real
yeah.
quick before I'll send it back over to the rest of the guy. Talk the guy, girl. Talk about this real quick. Talk about relationships because a lot of time the business is built off of relationships when you have longevity. Because I've seen artists, I've been around artists, and they've been buttholes, and then I look back and I say, "Oh, I see why you fell off, or why you can't sustain nothing because you're a butthole." You know what I
Right,
mean? Nobody want to be around you. So
right.
just talk about the relationship part of being in this business to carry your longevity. Also,
Well, again, man, that's the southeast, and I'm not saying it's good or bad. I'm just saying, truthfully speaking, that's the southeast. That's how we are where we from. Like that humility aspect for one, but that staying in your lane aspect for two, knowing that you're enough. You know what I mean? Like, knowing that you're enough. Like, you don't have to go outside of who you are, to get it done. And I strayed away from that. Like, give me that question one more time, because I wanna finish it, but I want to answer it right.
well, I just want to talk about once you talk about the being able to have great relationships.
Right,
Because the thing about having great relationships, that's what keep you on the road. That's
right.
what that will put you in certain studios to work with certain artists. That's what gets you that phone call from Usher to be able to make a record because people say, "Oh, rell is a good guy" or whatever. So even not even any artist, even when they call it falling off, it's some people that'll come back for you to pull you back up
Right.
because of they knew who you were when they first met you when you was hot.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Of course, like I said, a lot of artists, relationships. A lot of artists, um, it's just very hard once they've been taken through that bitter phase, and it's like, who do you trust? It is very hard. But to those artists and all aspiring artists, I say this: remember who gave you the gift. You know, Once you decide to take this on, first and foremost, don't forget where the gift came from. It didn't come from nobody you about to meet. You know what I mean? You had it before you met these people. You know what I mean? So remember, like, keep everything in order, and you'll be like, everything has its place. This gift don't come from man. Okay, your ability to do what you do does not come from a human body. It comes from a celestial body. It was in you when you came in this world. When your mother and y'all went through that trial of delivery, you know, it was with you. It was already there. And as long as you remember that God was the one that gave you the talent and the opportunity to showcase it, you know, for me, again, Southeast, again, that keeps me humble. That keeps my feet on the ground, knowing that it could stop at any minute, knowing that, you know, that what's going right could be wrong, you know, tomorrow, next week, in the morning, you know. So you're thankful for every opportunity that you get. You are sincere in your approach, ladies and gentlemen. Like, the best way to get respect is to respect yourself. If you
That's right.
carry respect, you'll get respect. It reverberates. It's like it'll reverberate around the room, you know. And a lot of times, carrying yourself with respect is just staying in your lane, just being cool with who you are, saying going after things that you're interested in, things that you love, and simply not going after the things that you don't, and not allowing yourself to be swayed because you think, you know, that would be cool, or it would help you blend in or fit in, you know, a little better. Nah, nah. Get in the mirror. Remember you enough. Appreciate all the praise you get for whatever your talent is, but just remember where it comes from when you're dealing with this industry and when you're dealing with business in general. And when you're building these relationships, you know, be sincere, be transparent. That's how they last. That's how they last. If you say you can do it, do it. And a lot of this is just grown man and grown woman stuff. It's just code. It's not really, you know, guidelines to the music industry, you know, because the music industry still has its bumps, still has its hiccups. But if you have spine, you can change it. If you have integrity, you can change it. If you build these type of relationships that last, you can change it. You know what I mean? So it's I'm glad that was another good question. That's why I wanted to be thorough in answering that, because I don't know who's watching, but I want to be sure that I'm thorough in the information that they get, because, you know, it's a crucial time, but it's also a beautiful time. Like, you know, like, there are things that we all don't like about where the industry is now. But like I said, with the formula, you know, for these new artists that's coming through and the conversation that we just had, their unification could change all that. You know, I don't like again, God gave me the gift. I'm not worrying about what the rules are. I ain't. You know what I mean? I'm not worrying about what it is I do. I'm just trying to make the best music I can here, and you know, get it to the people, because they're who count. They are the ones that count. They are the ones that matter. Everything else is just process. What you got to do with radio, media, and media base, and sound scan. What you got to do with all that is just process. It's all about really getting, you know, getting it to the people. So make sure that, you know, what you're giving them is worth it. Make sure that it's worth their time. Make sure that, you know, that it's going to put you in a position where you will be blessed, where you get that upper sponsorship, that get that upper endorsement. You know, you get those upper opportunities, but you have to tap into your better self. You have to tap into your bigger, better self. You know, because this ain't no nickel and dime shit here. This ain't no point. You know, this is not the mundane run in the mill. The music industry is Vegas. You are asking for a blessing of magnanimous favor. Okay, a lot of responsibility, power, you know, consciousness comes with that. You know what I mean? You got to move that way if you're dead serious, because those are the ones that God gives it to. You know,
Well, brother, I appreciate you coming on tonight.
I appreciate.
And I know we talked about also offline, and we got another show called the Breakdown Show where we break
Uh,
down old music, I ain't gonna say old music, but classic music.
right,
Where we talked about, going over some of your past music and just breaking down the story and the history of that. So
right.
formally invite you in front of my brother Jacob and our DJ Shu
I'll be.
and Verbs. All of us gonna be on that platform
I'll
here
be.
very soon to break down your music. You know what I'm saying, in that capacity. Because one thing we are is we like to give legends their flowers. You know what I'm saying? Just like Nori and Drink Champs, we the same way over here. You know, we try to give those legends their flowers, you know, while they can still talk about it. So
Thoroughly
um
appreciate
just
that.
tell everybody where they, you know, what you got brewing. Because I know you got some stuff brewing from what I hear. So just tell everybody where you got something brewing and where they can find you.
Well, I'm finishing up a book. I don't have a title for it yet, but I basically written 75% of a book that is speaking on the night that I left home for the first time, you know, up until the point where I signed with Dame Dash at Rockefeller. That's gonna be one
Mhm.
book right there. And so I'm almost finished with that one. You know, it should be a good read because, you know, it's real personal. I don't want everybody had names changed, so you know, I get to tell the stories and, you know, live and direct. So it's a lot of, you know, real shit, funny shit that you know, you'll be able to picture as you read in that. But it's all true. That's the thing. So the book is on that should be done soon. A new single is coming. You know, I'm back in New York City, back in this A market, excited. You know, CEO of Wolf Sounds, formerly a Rockefeller, but now, you know, CEO of my own label. I got a single coming called "I Got You," something we say all the time. A very, you know, and I just found a way to make it commercial. And "I Got You's," it's a mid groove, it's adult contemporary R&B, and it's strictly for, you know, the lovers, the husbands and wives, the grown and sexy, you know, that that working class, you know, swagalicious crowd. You know, it's
Okay.
strictly for them. You know, it's just a song where counterparts just, you know, get to enjoy each other's company. And we got an exciting visual coming for that too. I'm actually still searching for Mrs. Wright. It's very hard to find her. You know, I'm still looking for the female to play the wife in that. You know, that's my only dilemma. You know, still because, you know, I want black love to be showcased, and I can't find what I'm looking for at none of the modeling agencies, and everybody else seems to be on the gram with fans only. But yeah, I'm looking for a brown, you know, skinned, beautiful black woman. You know what I mean? Like you know, brown to dark. That's, you know, I want my wife to be that and thick up something terrible. I want, you know, I want people's eyes, you know, to be glued to the, you know, to her. So, you know,
No, that's
as
right, brother.
I can't give away the twist.
He said pick
Yeah.
up something terrible.
Oh yeah,
Yes, sir. Yes,
if,
sir.
if,
Hey,
if she's not that, then, you know, I study algorithms, and you know, I need them watching the video more than 5 seconds before they thumb right on through. So you have to give them what they tune into, and that's why
that's
I'm
right.
looking for. And she's gonna be the focal point. She's not twerking. She's not getting naked. It ain't nothing derogative happening. She's Claire, and I'm Cliff. But like I said, there's a twist that's gonna make our love much deeper than the cliche, you know, couple, you know, living doing their thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like it's gonna look cliche all the way through the video, but then at the end, like, it's gonna be a, oh shit, wow, I didn't even peep that. And so it's gonna be one of those things, you know. And I'm excited about that. I'm excited about well, y'all see I putting out a lot of projects, but a lot of those projects are old. You know, I was finally able to get in control of a lot of that music, you know, through, you know, just basically tracking down everybody I recorded stuff with, getting their blessing. It took a while. You know, at first we had to let the time go by. The time constraints had to, you know, go by and take their course. So, you know, with the state that R&B was in, you know, I wanted to make sure that I had a nice, comfortable catalog situated somewhere where people, you know, if they look me up for what I'm doing now, when they go see what else is there, everything I've ever done is there. Now, I wanted that to be in place before I started this new campaign, because I do have, lady and gentlemen, I probably have 3 albums worth of new material that I'm waiting
Okay.
to put. All of this stuff right here is like from before, you know, and that's why I had to make sure that that got up on platforms first. I just released another one called Rell Released, and that one is basically every song that wasn't on the Remedy album itself that, you know, I tried to release in different ways at Rockefeller. So all of those, you know, scattered singles or scattered, you know, mixtape joints, like all of them are now together, you know, and housed up under my Spotify for artists and my you know, my on Apple. So I'm happy about that. You know, I was proud of me for doing that, because now I'm in position to really, you know, pick up where I left off and kind of have everything in place where there are no gaps. There's no, okay, well, Jesus, he's doing this now, but he's got nothing. Oh no, there's plenty, and it's up and it's out for you to enjoy. And the shows, because now all that material is out. Like, I look forward to doing a lot more showcasing. I look forward to the interview that I'm probably gonna have, going with Choke No Joke after the single comes out. I'm on deck for you guys. I look forward to what me and Verbal Kent have going on, and I appreciate him for, lining things up for me and, basically putting me in a position where a lot of this is happening right now. Big bro, I love you and I appreciate you, homie. I gotta say that live and direct. And let's turn up. And the same to you guys, like, just whatever y'all need from me or mine on my end, just let me know.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. I just look forward to if you come to the ATL and I'm in town, you know what I'm saying? And maybe your wife could pull
Yeah.
up on y'all and, make it a date night or something. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I always say? I'm in Houston. Holla at me when you come to Houston.
I'm coming to Houston. I trust. I got you. It's gonna have me in Houston. It's gonna have me in Houston. There's nothing out like that record right now, and our age group, we sorely need it. We need it.
Yeah, for sure.
I see it. Trust me, I see it. I'm in an A market, and it's nothing going on here for that crowd, and I'm dying, to just, get things going for them and for me, but because I want to get things going for them because, in return that'll benefit me, but I see what they're missing. They're missing what Kels is bringing. I miss what Kels is bringing. I can't.
Yeah, we all do. We all do.
But I can be real, like in the spirit of what Kels does and what Kels did. Be real.
You got a great
calling a lot of my partners and peers in music to, lace up their boots and do the same thing. Fuck is y'all doing? But but that's another story, So y'all stay tuned because
we got you, bro. We got you. So I appreciate you coming on. God bless you, brother. And we'll be talking soon.
Okay, thank y'all, man.
Y'all have some blessings, man.
Peace and blessings to you.
Brown skin girl, and she knew I was out to go and clear my mind.